Have you ever heard of someone whom like everyone else is super enamored with? Like you've heard stories about what they've done and you're genuinely like, wow, that person seems really pleasant. And despite never having spent any time with them or their work, you've grown to appreciate their contributions. This, ladies and gents, is how I feel about Billy Ray Cyrus.
Don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart. I just don't think he'd understand.
Bosky is actually a rather bleak story of a company. Imagine a football player who was amazing in college. I mean, one of the best you ever saw. And then he gets into the pros and you're hyped as all else. And he absolutely sucks. I mean, just freaking sucks.
Dolapo, we get it. Tim Tebow wasn't the dream come true we all thought he'd be. You're going to have to let it go. But I do see the parallel you're trying to make. The story of Cliff Blezinski is, to say the least, a rather strange tale. One that starts in the magical time period known as the 1990s. 1990s. In 1992, Cliff started his career at Epic Games. After about 2 years there, he helped produce the game Jazz Jackrabbit. Now, at about the same time he began working on that, he also began working on what we now know as Unreal, which later became its own series of games. Very well-known games. But this popularity pales in comparison to his work as lead designer on Gears of War, which was actually intended to be another Unreal title, but shifted in premise along the way. Yes, the Gears of War franchise is what he is most known for, and it makes sense as to why. After $1 billion in revenue, yeah, it's no surprise that he has the notoriety that he does. So it is pretty bothersome that he wasn't able to stay at Epic Games. After about 20 years at the company, Cliff announced that he would be leaving Epic. Now, he did admit later on that he was originally intended to retire. This was because towards the end of his time there, his colleagues had become jaded and wouldn't take his pitches seriously. In 2014, Cliff tweeted that he would be coming out of retirement in order to make games again. Co-founded with his development partner from Jazz Jackrabbit, Boss Key Productions was born. What happens next is, to be honest, really, really sad. Like Lifetime movie sad. Like 7 pounds Will Smith sad.
I'm looking at you and it's like you're not even here.
Man, that movie was sad.
I know, right?
Anyway, the first game to come out of this company was the game Lawbreakers. Now, Lawbreakers was a team shooter very much in the vein of Overwatch. However, Lawbreakers took a more fast-paced approach, including features like zero-gravity gunplay. Now, I can't get super into why the game didn't perform well, aside from the idea that it wasn't enough to differentiate it from its competitors. And the game didn't possess enough remarkable characters to make it an iconic hero shooter. And it came at a time that Overwatch had actually been dominating for such a long time that there was no real way to break attention. And the game itself suffered from really bad tutorial systems in which reviewers who were reviewing the game reviewed it like super confused. That's not good.
Can't really get into it, huh?
It is what it is.
So, long story short, the game failed for a few reasons. A lot of people at the time of decline said that it might have been saved had it gone free to play. Honestly, we'll never know. But it can't be ignored that the game Paladins, another hero shooter, was able to break into the genre that Overwatch was dominating and actually gain a foothold, all by being free to play. After the definite demise of Lawbreakers, Boss Key announced the game Radical Heights, and then they released it. It was not finished, not even close, and they knew this. They even embraced it, calling it Extreme Early Access. This last desperate attempt to cash in on the Battle Royale franchise was met with harsh critique and ultimately failed. In May of this year, Cliff announced that Boss Key would be shutting down.
Cliff and Boss Key's story is not a tale of caution. I hate for anybody to think that with enough talent and effort, you can still fail. And yeah, that is true, but that's not the takeaway. Even though it is for Tim Tebow.
Let it go.
Fine. This is more a story about finding your own way. While implementing ideas from other games can be an interesting way to approach something, there still needs to be enough originality to spark interest. Both of Boss Key's products had been cash-ins. Lawbreakers trying to cash in on Overwatch and Radical Heights on PUBG and Fortnite. It's not hard to see why these didn't do well. Though they both had fun mechanics, they were both inevitably doomed to die under the shade of a much larger, more well-known version of their games.
This was all brought about because Cliff recently announced that he would be writing a book about all of this. He says the book will cover moments from his personal life, as well as his experiences at Epic Games, and yes, we'll finally know exactly what happened behind closed doors at Boss Key. I, for one, don't like seeing people fail. It's not a good feeling to see someone with promise fall short. But I believe that there is so much to be gained from his story, and I think that there can still be more for Cliff if he ever wanted to get back into game design. I hardly believe his name is tainted. Sure, there were times when he was big-headed and proud, but many people just take that as him being someone who believed in his product. There's no shame in that. Dolapo and I both wish him the very best. Stay perfect.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to sound off in the comments if you liked what you saw. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. If you didn't, hey, sorry to hear that, but you might like something else on the channel. Who knows? And if you got the time, make sure to check all the links in the bio. Got things from our merch store to our Twitters, and hell, might be a giveaway in there.